And let's talk about all the minorities and Lisa. Of course, we were completely lost because you were also in that film showing us the necessity of the balance, I mean, the human balance, not only the economical balance in between the poor and the rich. And what about demography? Do we have the right to talk about demography in this world? Otherwise, we'll be completely overrun by the billion and billion and billion of the coming neighbors, friends, people. So, remember, as I have to talk about global security. Okay. So, this European Union, I repeat, is not a model. This is not perfect at all. But do you know a perfect system? Do you realize that in Asia with ASEAN, in Latin America, and it starts to be the same thing in Africa with the enlargement of African Union. This is the model for everybody. And this model, we can offer a new name. This is the non-borderism. Non-borderism. We were living on a very particular border, territory after territory in Europe. And the European story is the story of our wars against each other for an inch of territory. But this is no longer true. This is a big, tremendous change. And as I told you, we are not at the end of the process. European Union is a process. Do we have to enlarge? I believe so, but we are not all in agreement. It was a big debate when we were talking about Turkey. But it was also a big debate when we were talking about the eastern countries. 10 of them. And it was absolutely, let's say, necessary because they were coming out from communism. Was it easy for us to accept that? Not at all. And we were, in our economy, the 17 nations already member of the community to enlarge to the Union at 27. And the differences at the level of the daily life, the economy, the social welfare system was very difficult to absorb by us, but we did. And it was partly one of the reasons of the actual economic crisis. Okay, so the historical process of the sort of example, the way we are with these people we are used to fight, enlarging, let's say, to a sort of, not because of the borders. Thank you for having quoted that we found a doctor without borders, but it was the beginning of globalization. It was complete sorry to be too long, but I have to. Remember, when we started Doctor Without Borders, it was absolutely illegal for a medical doctor to cross the border and on the other very theoretical line, a very thin line of a border, to take care of your neighbors, even in Italian or Spanish. It was absolutely forbidden. You were outlawed. And look now, this is completely different. So this non-borderism was more or less a progress. So, in terms of a nation, because what was Europe, it was the coalition or the struggle in between nation states. This is no longer true, even if we are not in agreement with our British friends because they didn't accept the treaty, the last one, etc., etc. They will come back, or we will offer something else. On risk and the rest, I think that we have to talk about the role of the European Union in preventing risks. Thank you for having seen the responsibility to protect. But the responsibility to protect, even if this notion is coming from Europe, was not achieved without the UN system. And the UN system is the only body representing, more or less, well, not so well sometimes, the international community. And we did. And look at what happened in the last time. Libya, Syria. What Libya necessary to protect the the people of the city of Benghazi? Yes. Was it necessary to be prepared? Was it necessary? Yes, but we didn't prepare that. On the contrary, we passed from one, let's say, friendship with Gaddafi, or not friendship, but cooperation with Gaddafi, to bombing Gaddafi. It was a bit quick, if I may say so. And what about Syria? Syria is a complete reverse, because China and Russia, two permanent members of the Security Council, the UN Security Council, are against the resolution of them. And what will happen in Syria? For the time being, and I have to be very cautious, Bashar al-Assad is the winner. And despite of the efforts of the international community and the meeting in Paris yesterday of the 15 foreign ministers, we have no access, despite of the efforts of Kofi Annan, my good friend, we have no access to the suffering of the people. So sometimes we are stepping back. And I want to end. Yes, thank you. I want to end. But you were asking me, Mr. President of the Open Ukraine, you were asking me a very precise question on regional conflict. We were able to solve, not completely, but the regional conflict, that is to say Balkan, from European Union and by our American friends. But we were able to do so. It is not completely achieved, but we were able. What about Middle East? We tried. What about Russia, Georgia? We tried. And we stopped, for the time being, the Russian army. They didn't take over Tbilisi, etc. Arab Spring, we have to talk about that. Immigration. Don't mix the problem of immigration, that is to say, economical migrant, with those who are looking for asylum, refugees, because our European Union is very open to the refugees, but that is completely true. They are not open enough, according to my opinion, to the economical migrant. And there is a complete difference between the northern part of Europe and the southern part, where they are coming openly. We have to talk about organized crime, human trafficking, corruption. Is it reserved to the European Union? Not at all. But yes, we have to fight against it. Is it easier in democracy? Yes, it is. Because the corruption is certainly a bit less. Okay, don't sit down for two minutes, Lisa, please. Terrorism. I just want to end by that, because we also have to talk about energy security in that country, where the gas is passing by, etc. So you have no equilibrium and global security without the possibility of having the necessary energy you need. At the end, terrorism. And I'm not going to talk about nuclear power stations, but also we have to say that for the time being, this is the only way to get energy enough. I wish that the other sources of energy will replace that, but this is not for sure. Terrorism. We were able to fight terrorism, our American friends, and also I remember London, I remember Madrid, I remember Paris, I remember the places where we have been hit by terrorism. Is it better with a sort of coalition of the intelligence services? Yes, it is much better than before. Is it the end? Certainly not. But mind, because fighting against terrorism is not to be completely, let's say, overrun by a sort of slickering necessity to reduce the freedom inside our country, and the example is Guantanamo. We cannot accept Guantanamo, even if it was necessary for a while. So yes, nothing, but democracy does matter. I don't know a better and very imperfect another system, not at all. Will it be possible to get democracy overnight? Not at all. And that's the example of the Arab Spring. It's impossible that just because they were coming and very bravely confronted to the army and the police in Tahrir place, that it would change completely the picture. We'll see for the election. Certain candidates. Okay.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup.